So hello, good morning to everyone, or a good day. I hope you can hear me. So today we start our Friday talk. It's very nice to see everyone. And today we will talk on the programming of the Clack CE valve. As usual, we will start slowly to let everyone join us. We have a last-minute change, so I will be today the only speaker. And of course, we will have the CE valve with us to program, but we will come back to it later. And I will start with the sharing of the screen, and I will show a little bit more about the products, a little bit more about our web page. So for those who joined us for the first time or talked or joined us several times, I just want to show that somewhere close to the end of the main page, we have the Friday Talks page. And on this page, of course, we have the notification of the nearest topic. Yeah, so today we will talk on the Clack CE valve programming. And you may join us, but what is more important that after a few days, after every Friday talk, here you may find all the records, and also including this one, you will find uploaded to the web page for your easy access. So you may always come to ecosoft.com, go to Friday Talks and find the video you are interested in, or maybe the video your colleagues would like to see, or you think those videos might be useful for them. You may also share them. Today we will talk on the programming of the CE valve, and I want to give a general information of where we use the CE valve and why it is important to know how to program it. So basically, we use the CE valve in the advanced softener cabinets, in the titanium gold cabinets. We have two models. Then we have softeners, Arctic Blue softeners, with they are also equipped with the CE valve. Empty cabinets that we supply, they're equipped with the CI valve that is mentioned in the name of the product. And also we supply the softeners SE. So basically, I will jump to it. So basically, it's a pressure vessel with a valve with a brine tank, and we supply it completely assembled but empty. And the valve is already pre-programmed, and I will also talk on this a little bit more today. And basically, we would talk today on what everyone should do when we start up the system, and if you have more complicated water treatment systems, what the programming should be. So this is basically the topic of the today's talk. So I believe that everyone who wanted to join has already joined us, and we may start with the programming. So I will share again. My screen. So this is the manual for the control valve that is available for everyone. So this manual is quite a detailed description of every step, and I will just now go through it very quickly, but then we will program the valve. actually with the real valve, not with the manual. So there are many steps. I will start with the end as usual. So every valve, what is important to mention that every valve is programmed already by us. So when you get the cabinet unit or the B block unit, the valve is programmed to operate with Ecomix media. But you have anyway, you have to do some steps, some actions. First of all, you have to set the hardness of the water. So to do that, you go to next and up menu, and then you go step by step, and you may set the hardness. You may set the day between regenerations. So this is anyway, you would have to do that. And the step number 2, you would have to program the time. So this is also important that you have to set the time of the day, because normally we have the delayed regeneration at 2 a.m. and to make it right, and then you have to set the time of the day. If you would like to do the some modifications, so if you would use the valve to another type of the media or to another vessel type, and then you would need to change the volume of the media. You may need to change the Ecomix to softener. So this is the menu that you go next and down. And if you have a more complicated system, like twin system, duplex system, or you would like to connect external devices, then you would have to enter a configuration setup menu. To do that, you need to press next and down, and then next and down simultaneously. I will show it just in few moments. And then you go through more sophisticated steps of the menu. Today we will cover all the steps in details, and I will also explain what is the difference and what are the nuances of every step. So once again, this manual is available for everyone. So if you don't know how to get it, please contact me directly, or you may contact your customer service. So now I'm back to, now I will share my screen. And so I believe that everyone could see. So I believe that everyone could see that we have on the screen. So the first advantage of the CE valve is that you may set your contacts like I did. So I put Friday and I put telephone number of our office in Belgium. So if you want to call our colleagues, you may do it right now. So, but I will show how you may put your contact information, your name of the company, and how to install, how to set the telephone number. So basically, I will now explain how the buttons are operating and how the valve reacts on the buttons. So first you have the screens, the user screen, and by pressing next, you can check time of the day. Then you can check capacity remaining in cubes. This is the countdown timer or countdown value that it shows when in what volume of treated water the system will go to regeneration. And then this is amount of days when the system will go to regeneration if the volume of treated water won't be used. Then we have a current flow rate. So if there would be a flow rate through the system, this value is shown in liters per minute. And then it is very important when you do the setup of the unit, you may always open the taps in the house, or if it's an office or any other site, you may open the taps and see how much water is consumed. This is important to check the real consumption of the filter with the capacity of the filter installed. So if the consumption of the water is higher than the capacity of the unit, so you should somehow restrict the water flow rate through the system. Then if the contacts if you have set your contacts, then they would also display displayed on the screen. If you have activated the salt feature, then you will also see it. And then it's time of the day. Also, to set that the time of the day, you have to use the button that is clock. Yeah, when you enter any programming menu, then you have a range here in the left side of the screen. So the range means that you are in a programming mode. So you are going to change parameters. So yeah, time of the day is something that everyone should install. The question to everyone, you may answer in the chat. So if you have electricity shutdown, for how many hours or for how many days the time will be kept in the controller memory? So if you know, you may answer in the chat. And then we have a region button. So region button has two options. So first you may just press region. When you just press region, it means that you plan regeneration for today, and then you will have this value that shows the wording that says that region today. So region today means that today at set time. So by default it's 2 a.m. The valve will take the filter to regeneration. So normally when you finish the maintenance, we always recommend to do additional regeneration the nearest night. So when you press it again, then this function will be deactivated. Another function of the regen button is when you press it for 5 seconds, then you start immediate regeneration. So you may hear the valve that is moving to regeneration side, and then you see that now the backwash, the valve is in the backwash cycle, and then you see the countdown timer. So in this, now the duration of the backwash is 15 minutes, and now we see the countdown timer. So if you do the complete regeneration cycle, so you have to wait. But if you do the diagnostic or you check the valve, you may go to the next step of the regeneration by pressing regen one more time. So when I do so, the valve will go to the next step. So then you see that now it's regeneration. This is the brine stage, and the valve is set in the downflow mode. You see it on the screen. And by pressing regen, I will finish the regeneration. So I will go step by step. The technicians use this feature when they want to check how each stage of regeneration is taking place. So you will need a minute or a few minutes to check if the backwash is going fine. During the brining, we check if there is a suction of brine. So by this means you can exactly check how the system would operate. Meanwhile, you are not servicing it. Yeah, then we have rinse. And then I move to the field stage. So what is important also to mention that when the valve is in the fill station, it means that it can already softens the water. So it is already in operation. While when the valve in all other stages, in all other cycles, it means that the valve is bypassing raw water to the treated water. This is also important to know. So there are no replies on my questions on for how many days or how many hours the valve would keep the time. So if the valve, so the answer is if the valve was in operation for 24 hours, then the batteries and the condensators are charged, and when there would be electricity shut down, then even after 72 hours of no electrical supply, the valve would keep the time. So you would not have to reset the time again. So when you get the system from Ecosoft, the valve is already programmed. So first you have to set the time of the day, and you have to set the hardness, and you have to set several other parameters. So first, you may select the language that is more convenient for you. By default, this is English, but also there is German, there is Ukrainian, and we are about to add French. So I think in a few months, you will also have French language as an option. By pressing next, when you press next, actually you confirm the selected value. So when I press next, I confirm English, as well as I will confirm any other parameter. Then you set the hardness. So now it is in German degrees, but you could also select between ppm, French degrees, milliequivalents, and German degrees. So then in this case, you by pressing up and down, you set the hardness. At the next step, you select days between regeneration. So this is the time, the maximum amount of days when the system would operate without regeneration. Our recommendation is to set this value equal to 10 days, and this would work in this way. So if during 10 days the valve, the filter would not treat amount of water that is calculated according to the water hardness, it will go into regeneration by days. So we need this, we recommend to set 10 days in order to keep the media fresh and to keep the filter running for as long as possible. Yeah, of course, if you are on vacation and if you are on a long vacation, like for a month, it means that if you would keep the system as it is, it would hold 3 regenerations. So maybe you will deactivate it, but I would suggest not to do it and keep it as it is, because it's always better to consume some amount of salt rather than do the maintenance after vacation period, especially when the iron content is very high. So when you have iron more than 5 ppm in the water, I would always recommend to leave the filter on, and do not switch off the valve, do not switch off the water, and keep it always fresh. Because if the iron is very high and you don't make regeneration every 10 days, then you may foul any media you use for iron removal. Then you set day of regeneration, time of the regeneration. So normally it's by default it's 2 a.m. It's important to mention that if you have a carbon filter that is installed downflow or sediment filter that is installed upflow, you have to somehow synchronize the regeneration time of the filters you have on site. If you have a carbon filter after, so I would keep 2 a.m. for the softener, but I would install 1 a.m. for the carbon that is installed downflow the softener, after the softener. So you set time, you say the minutes. Then you can keep, you can actually activate, you can skip on the energy saver. Energy saver means that the screen will, the backlight of the screen would shut off after 10 minutes or 5 minutes of not touching the buttons, or you can make it always off if you want to have it shining all the time. By default, it is on. And here in this step, there is a secret combination of buttons. When you are on this stage, you may press up and down, hold it for 3 seconds. Press and hold for 3 seconds, and then you enter the step where you can activate the default the feature to put your company name and to put your telephone number. So by pressing next and with buttons up and down, you may select digits. So you would need a few minutes to do so. And this is basically the everything you have to set when you do the startup. So if you don't want to change anything, I will just browse it once again, but very fast. So you enter the menu, select the language, set the hardness, actually it is already set. If you buy the valve, if you buy the system from us, it's already set for 10 days. You just press next, energy saver on, and that's all. So it's quite easy. So when you want to change something, for example, you are going to you have bought a 10 by 54 tank with valve, but you are going to use not an Ecomix media, but you are going to use a softening media. So in this case, you have to go next and down, hold it for 3 seconds, and then you enter the programming menu. What is very good about the CE valve that it has auto setup mode. So it means that in the memory of the valve, there are already pre-programmed regeneration sequence for several types of filters. I will now show my screen, and I will show how you can learn the values. So on page 6, sorry. So in the very beginning of the programming manual, so you have a table with the values. So this is the parameters that are already preset for auto setup. So when you confirm the auto setup, you could select between Ecomix and softener. And then you select the media volume. So it's already preset values, like from 8, 12 up to 125. And then as soon as you set these two values, all other values and cycles of regeneration will be taken from the memory of the controller automatically. So you do not need to set the duration of every stage. And this is very easy, especially when you are just start using the Clack valve. That is relatively complicated to start using it for the first time. But this auto setup menu makes life much easier to start. So if you have the if you have, for example, now it's programmed for Ecomix, but you are going to use it for a softener, then you select a softener, and then you select, you say this is, it would be 25-liter softener, or 37 or 50-liter softener. And then you press next. You confirm that capacity calculation should be done in the automatic way. Just press next. And then you select, then you have a choice how to make regeneration. So if we talk about the residential applications, we always have delayed regeneration. Yeah, on the previous menu, we have already set 2 a.m. as the regeneration time. But also you have option between immediate regeneration. So when you set immediate regeneration, it would mean that the filter will go to regeneration in 2 minutes after the capacity is exhausted and there is no water flow. When capacity is 0, no water flow, and after 2 minutes, regeneration would start. So in this case, most probably you would need to connect the no hard water bypass, not to let raw water go through the system to the water treatment, to the water supply system. Or you can use both types. Yeah, when you go for both, it means that whatever situation comes first, then the valve will go into regeneration. So it means that if the delayed regeneration, if the filter can be regenerated at 2 a.m., it will do so. But if the capacity will be exhausted during the day, then it will start immediately. So for domestic application, we recommend to set delayed regeneration. Then you could activate, it's already activated. You can actually deactivate it. Normally it's salt off. So if you want to have an alarm for the salt on, let's make it like this. So you activate the salt alarm, and by setting 15 kilos means that when the valve has 15, when there is 15 kilos of salt left in the brine tank, you would have a message on the screen that there is a low salt. So let's set to 15. And then you have an option to set the service alarm. So if you do the regular maintenance and you are willing to do the maintenance once a year or twice a year, I would recommend to activate this menu. So by default it is off, but you could, I would say, when we use it, most popular option is to set the time. When you confirm time, and then on the next stage, you have a duration or interval in years when this message would appear. So 1 year, by default, it's 1 year, but you could actually take 3 quarters, you could take half a year, or you could increase it, let's say every year and a half. It depends on you. And when you activate the service alarm, after this time will be expired, there would be a message that the system need maintenance, and your contact information would be also displayed. So when you activate the service alarm, it's rational to set your company name and the telephone number. So now we have, this is already finished menu number 2. And let's see what has changed in the screens. So we have company name and a telephone number. We have salt remaining. So we have 94 kilos of salt. So when a regeneration would start and finish, the controller would deduct amount of salt that was used for one regeneration. So, and after a certain period of time, we have installed 15 as a set point when the valve should give an alarm. So as soon as it will reach 15, it will have alarm. And when you, to deactivate alarm, you have to come to this point, then you press clock, and you actually add salt. I don't know, let's imagine you have add 4 bags of salt, then you put that valve has, that the brine tank contains 100 kilos of salt, and you confirm it by pressing next. And then this salt level alarm will be deactivated, and the countdown timer would start again. Then we have time of the day, capacity remaining, days between region, and yeah, and this is all. I don't know, maybe you have any questions at this point? No questions in chat. It would be nice to have a discussion, not a monologue from my side. So at this point, I will then go to the next part, and I will explain a little bit the errors that might appear during the operation of the unit. So the PC board is smart enough to detect that something is going wrong. For example, we have the motor is out of operation. So I will remind you that we have a motor here. And what we can do, I could simulate that there is damage of motor. So I will disconnect it. So back the cover, and let's activate regeneration. So you see the PC board is trying to start regeneration, but you don't hear the sound because I have disconnected the motor. And you see that there is an error has appeared. So this is very often appeared. This is 101 error, 101. And it says unable to start motor, and it shows the company name and the telephone number. So very often when you do you or technicians do the maintenance, they just forget to connect the motor. And if you have the 101 error, most probably it's just disconnected. So to reset the error in this case, first you have to resolve the issue, the reasons for this error. It means that you have to connect back the motor. But you see the error still here. So then you have 2 options on how to reset, on how to make. Hello, Stefan. If you can switch off your, please switch off your camera so that everyone could see only my screen. It would be more convenient. Thank you. So when you have this error on the screen, there is 2 ways on how to reset it. So first way is more sophisticated. You have to press next and region for 3 seconds, and then this error will be reset. But very often we forget this combination. And you can go the second way. You can disconnect the power supply here. It is important that to reset, in this case, the power supply should be disconnected on this pin, not with the transformer. I will also show it to you. So if you disconnect it and connect back, then you have the software version and no error on the screen. I will also show you a little another. I will also show you another error, and I will show you how it can be reflected in this differently. So when you connect it back, it's sometimes the wires are not nicely arranged. And this is why you cannot close the cover. So let's bring it back. Now we will go to the configuration menu. So this is the deepest menu that is in the valve. So you enter it by pressing next and down simultaneously, hold it for 3 seconds. You enter the first menu and then you do the same. So you enter once again. And this is the configuration menu. So you go to configuration menu. In that, you will have to do it if you set a duplex system, twin system, alternating system, or you want to connect any external device any external device that you would like to connect. And I will now explain every step in detail. So first you set the type of the valve body. So this is 1-inch valve. So it means that the PC board should know that it is connected to the 1-inch body. It is important to do that because in other case you would have errors. So if you do the change during the maintenance, if you replace the PC board and you take a PC board from the 1-inch valve, but you put it on the 1-inch twin, it is very important that you go to this menu and then select by pressing up. You can actually select between 1.25, 1.5, 2-inch, and 1-inch twin. So let's do this. So I will also simulate an error, and you will see how it will appear on the screen. So now I'm doing wrong, but you will see how the valve would react after a while. So the next step, if you have selected the twin, it will ask you for pre-service rings. So I will back to this menu a little later. Then you have an option. No, I would not. I will select here 1-inch. Otherwise, it has changed the logic. So I select 1-inch, and then you can program the external devices. So here you have several options. So if you are setting a twin system or alternating systems, and if you want 2 valves or 2 systems to work alternatively, then the first valve will be the first system will be set as valve 1, and the neighboring unit will be set as a valve B. Also, you may connect the system to the Clack system controller, and you have an option to build a system that consists of 6 units. Yeah, from 3 to 6 units, you may arrange to work in parallel. And then in this case, you would need a Clack system controller, wire it between the valves. And then in this case, you select the Clack system controller. And then you have a separate source. It means that you may connect 3-way valve to the control valve, and you may do a backwash, for example, with the water that comes from other source. For example, you have a sediment filter, and you want to backwash the sediment filter with the water that comes from the regeneration of a softener. You would like to save some amount of water. So in this case, you connect the motorized alternative valve to the Clack valve, and then select a separate source, and you will be able to regenerate filter with water from different source. Then you could have a no hard water bypass. So this is the shut-off valve during regeneration. So if you want to close the water supply during regeneration, then you select this option. A very good example of such application is the water is a softeners for hot water boilers. So if you have the heating circuit, and heating circuit shouldn't be fed with hard water, so in this case you will have to put a no hard water bypass. In this case you select the no hard water bypass option. Or if you don't have any if you don't have any valves connected, then you keep it off. Important to mention here that if you have not connected any valves, but you have by accident, you have set no hard water bypass, an error will occur in few seconds. So I will keep it and you will see how it will react. And then you have a choice to select to set up a valve 2. I would just want to remind you that here on the PC board, we have two connections here. And these two connections, two pins, can be used to manipulate two Clack external valves, shut-off valve or motorized alternating valve. So now we can select, we can program the valve 2. So we can program it on time. So for example, let's say after treatment of, after being in operation for several times, you may switch off the complete system. Yeah, very often it is used for example, arsenic removal, or you have when you have a mixed bed. So you can switch off the system, you know the capacity of the mixed bed, you know after what time it will be exhausted, and then you can switch off the unit by setting times here. So now you see that it shows an error. It's a 106. So 106 error is the most frequent error due to misprogramming. So it means that I put the no hard water bypass, but there is no in fact. And in this case, you to reset this error, we can go this way. We could go next and we can go next and region. So we reset the error, but we have, I believe, 30 seconds. We have to enter the menu and we have to make proper settings. So now we have to find this step and program it properly. Yeah, let's put it off. So we stopped on the valve 2. So here you have time, separate source, or you could have a backwash pause. So backwash pause is a very nice feature to save, to decrease 2 times amount of water for a generation. So backwash pause means that you can connect no hard water bypass to the valve, to the inlet of the valve, and you can backwash for 1 minute and then let the media sit for 1 minute. And the complete regeneration stage would last for 10 or 15 minutes, but only half of the time there would be backwash and half of the time would be settling of the media in the tank, but efficiency of the backwash would be the same. So for application where you would like to decrease amount of water for regeneration in 2 times, you may use this function and we will help you to design the complete system. So now it shows another error because I have activated this function, but haven't installed anything. So let's reset again. Then the next step is auxiliary input. So this is the way we program the DP switch. DP stands for differential pressure. So basically, it was invented for the sand filters or carbon filters that are equipped with the differential pressure device. And when you get connected to the DP switch, and the DP switch may be programmed for immediate regeneration, delayed regeneration, or hold. So the hold feature is now used in duplex. So when the valve features allows you to connect two units to work parallel in a duplex mode. Duplex mode is the mode when two units are operated in the same time, but they cannot be in regeneration in the same time. So the hold feature allows you to build duplex system, and you may also look in our we will help you with programming and with the wiring of Clack valve in the duplex mode. Let's put it off. Then you may select the hardness units. I have already covered this. So you have ppm of calcium carbonate, you have milliequivalents, German degrees, and soon we would have French degrees. Then you select downflow or upflow, but you have to remember that not the PC board, but the valve body defines if the downflow or upflow valve. So this particular valve is the downflow valve. So even if you would put upflow here, it would not change anything. So this is just for the settings of the upflow valve, because the PC board is the same for both upflow and downflow valve. Then you can select between post-fill and pre-fill. So you could actually fill the water to the brine tank before generation or after generation. So and it depends on the applications. Then you may have a mixing valve. Just to remind you, so this is the place for the mixing valve. And so there is no mixing valve in this particular unit, but if you have the mixing valve and you would like to adjust the hardness after the filter, then you would have to make it, you will have to make it on or off. Then you could adjust every stage of regeneration. So I will just go step by step, but as you see, this is already preset durations because we have selected the auto setup. So you see that the 10, then 60 minutes for brine, 1 minute for backwash, rinse, fill. And then the next step is the relay. So we have relay 1 and relay 2. So these are the green connector here that can be the output current may be set in these steps. And these are very useful functions when you want to connect the Clack CE valve to external devices. So what can be done here? So we could take regeneration time. So when you select this step, then in the next step, we will set after how many minutes the valve should activate the relay. For example, after 15 of the 10 minutes. And then we set the duration when the relay would be active, let's say 4 minutes. Why you may need this? For example, you want to add chlorine during regeneration, during the brining. Then you may connect the dosing station to this relay and say that after 15 minutes of regeneration, you should inject chlorine during 10 minutes, and then you set the capacity of the dosing station, and you may inject chlorine, and it will be operated by the Clack CE valve. I will move on. Also, I haven't told you that if you want to make a one step back in the programming, you may use regen. So next is you confirm and go to the next step. Regen is you return to a previous step. Then you have volume. So for example, you want to have an alarm when 1,000 liters or 10,000 of liters were treated. So you set the volume, and then you set how many liters. And then after that amount of liters, for how many period of time, what is for how many minutes the relay would be active. Also, you may set here error monitor. So it means if you would have an error on the valve, the relay would become active. So this is helpful to connect the sound or light indicator for somebody to let know that there is an error on the valve. If you have activated the salt level, you would also have an alarm on the relay when the salt level reach the set point. And also you have relay 2. You have also regeneration time, you have volume, basically error monitoring and off. So basically you could do many complicated things and very useful things thanks to these green relays and the programming. Yeah, and this is finally the end of the programming. Now we have some time for your questions. So please let me know if you have any questions regarding the programming.
Yes, we have one question. Could you please read the chat? Because it's too long question.
And this is really it's not a question. It's just an explanation from Vlad on how you can use Vlad. Thank you for add-on to this presentation. Also, just to finalize this presentation, I would like to show another secret combination of buttons. So when you have done all the programming and all the changes, sometimes you are a little bit frightened that someone would come to the valve and would change the programming, by accident or just by going through the steps, and then you would have to come on site and visit once again just to program it in a proper way to fix the possible error. So you may actually lock the keyboard by pressing a combination of buttons. So when you press down, next, up, and clock, the keyboard, actually not the keyboard, but some functions would be blocked. So when you do it like this, so you would have the message program lock, and then if the control valve is locked, so you could still go through the screens. Yeah, you could still change the time of the day. And even you could go to the next and up menu where you could change the language and the hardness. but you cannot enter any other menus. So you cannot enter neither setup mode, neither or configuration mode. So this is important. So there is no message that the screens are locked, but you cannot actually change important things. Yeah, to unlock, it is also important to remember this sequence to unlock it. So you have to repeat the same sequence. Next, down, next, up, and clock. And you see the program is unlock. And yeah, now you know how to protect the valve. So there were no questions. I believe that this Friday talk was useful for everyone. I cannot. I believe in this, but since no questions, it's hard to understand. Anyway, after some time, you would have this video uploaded to the Friday Talks webpage, and you may go through it once again or show it to your colleagues. So for today, the video you may find the video won't be sent, but you would find it after a few days. You will find it on the Friday Talks page. Do you know where it is? I will show it once again. I will share my screen. Now I will show it that if you go to the Ecosoft web page, scroll down and go in. So here in the end, you have a list of videos from Friday Talks. And then here you would find this particular video. So at this moment, I say goodbye to you and see you next Friday on the next Friday talk. So have a nice end of the week, have a nice weekend, and see you next Friday.